For the next 6 days, I'm going to be exploring some of Iceland's best scenery.
Pulled and stretched by strong winds.
We'll be bathing in hot springs, hiking on epic glaciers, and visiting iconic waterfalls. It's my first time in the country, and I'll be exploring with my partner Soph around the famous Golden Circle and the country's south coastal highlights.
Just astounded by what I've just seen. You just can't get that anywhere else.
Now they're supposed to be on.
If you come to Iceland, you have to do that.
Originally, this was a trip planned back in 2020, but we all know what happened in 2020, so it's been on our radar for some time now. We'll be based in the capital city of Reykjavik for the first 3 nights before hiring a car and going to Vik for 2 nights before making our way back to Reykjavik for the final night. Or, at least that's what the plan was before finding out that my driving licence was out of date. But more on that later. After around 3 hours, our flight from London touched down in Reykjavik, and we jumped straight on the flybus to the city, and the final stop was Hallgrímskirkja, the tallest church in the entire country, and it was conveniently just around the corner from our accommodation. Hallgrímskirkja's architecture is particularly unique as it has been heavily influenced by the volcanic basalt columns found across many of Iceland's landmarks, including Black Sand Beach, which we'll be visiting later on. After seeing the church, we jumped on scooters for about 2 minutes and headed downtown to see the famous Rainbow Street, and this was temporarily painted as a rainbow in 1999 to celebrate the city's first Pride Festival. The Rainbow Road did become a permanent feature in 2019 though, as local residents began to paint it because it just became such a massive tourist attraction. We also grabbed some food overlooking the famous Rainbow Street, and let me tell you now, Icelandic restaurants are very, very expensive. This bowl of noodles cost about 20 quid. Bit of robbery there, but that's what you learn is normal. Anyway, tomorrow promises to be a bucket list afternoon when we go whale watching, but before then we're going to the Sky Lagoon for some relaxation and pampering. The Sky Lagoon opened back in 2021 and is conveniently located around a 15-minute Uber from the city centre. We opted for their Pure package, which is a 7-step spa ritual starting with the lagoon itself before moving on to the cold plunge, a sauna room, and then all the rest of the steps. Each of which are detailed on the website, and I'll link to that in the description.
Nice start. Nice.
Definitely straight away put your torso in. Don't mess about, don't let the wind touch it. Oh, that looks choppy. That looks choppy, yeah. Somersby, how much is that? £7.20, it's £10.80.
Where do you want to go?
Are you there? So Soph's about to do the cold plunge. How's that? You okay?
Is this still recording?
That's cold.
Next step is hot, so welcome.
Oh, brilliant.
We were kind of banking on the Sky Lagoon still being in its infancy regarding tourism, and it paid off in a big way because we had a little part of the lagoon all to ourselves, or at least that's what it felt like. You know, there was not as many crowds as we were expecting. There was enough of the lagoon to go around for everybody really. And with the ocean views as well, it's easy to just watch the world go by, or if you're into warm waterfalls, then that's also another reason to go there.
Is it cold?
No, it's not that cold. It's alright. Oh. wanna go?
Yeah.
We opted against going to the Blue Lagoon as it's much further out from the city centre, and we were also fearful of overcrowding, as well as it being really expensive and on the face of it just not as good a value as what the Sky Lagoon was offering. After spending some time overlooking the ocean, we were now about to go into the ocean searching for some whales. Whale watching is always something that we've wanted to do but just never found ourselves in the right place at the right time, and the risk with these kind of wildlife trips is that you never actually see what you're going to look for. But the company that we booked with said, if you don't see any whales on this tour, we'll give you another chance to go tomorrow, and so that gave us a lot of confidence because they were so confident that we were going to see whales, given that it was whale watching season in Iceland. And honestly, we'd have just taken one spout, which is when the whale just blows the water up. But what we were about to get made us feel incredibly lucky.
Humpback whale has a maximum size of 16 meters for the male and 18 for the female, and a maximum weight of 40 tons. Yeah, it's really big baby. This one is really big. So humpback whale is also very interesting because when they come to the surface for breeding, they pop up a few times before to do a deeper dive, and during this deeper dive you can see their back become very curved, create a hump. That's why we call them humpback whales. And if we are lucky enough, we can sometimes see their fluke go out of the water like a small halo, and they disappear in the water.
Before arriving at the sighting hotspot, the guide was telling us how best we could spot signs where the whales were to increase the chances of us spotting them. And when we finally arrived at the sighting hotspot, there was a lot of anticipation in the air and people were just patiently waiting for a whale. Then suddenly there was a massive rush of excitement on the boat and everyone just rushed to one side of the boat, but it was just a dolphin. The guide sort of teased us by saying that the dolphins were more easy to spot because there was just more of them, and that they did hang out with the whales as well. So there's a good chance that if you see dolphins somewhere in the ocean, then whales won't be too far behind. And then out of nowhere we saw this big humpback whale blowing at the surface, and it surprised everyone on the boat and we all just collectively gasped.
It's at 2 o'clock.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, there it is again.
We were lucky enough that the whales were in and around our location for about half an hour or so, on and off in between their dives, which gave us plenty of opportunities to see their flukes, which is just the tail, you know, when you see the flick of the humpback whale, that's called their fluke, which is obviously the postcard shot that everybody wants to see. Towards the end of our stop, something spectacular happened, which I only happened to capture the following audio for because I was taken back by a whale half breaching.
That was very, very beautiful.
Oh, wow.
I didn't think I'd ever see that in my whole entire life.
Oh, no way. What have you just seen?
So now they're supposed to be on
So that makes a grand total of 5 flukes, including a half breach as well. So we were super lucky.
Oh, there it is again.
And so, yeah, the plan for tomorrow is our last full day based in Reykjavik. And we've got a full day tour on the Golden Circle. So we're seeing the Geyser and a couple of the big waterfalls as well. I think Gullfoss is one of them. Yeah, and so that's this is like the classic thing that people do in Reykjavik if they don't have time to hire a car and, you know, go down the ring road. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're at the Kerrid crater, which literally translates as crater. Apparently it came from like a cone volcano that blew its magma chamber and then the walls imploded basically. That's what most people think happened about 3,000 years ago.
The aquamarine colour of the lake is due to high mineral content and the way the sunlight interacts with the water. When alongside the red volcanic rocks, this forms the caldera of the volcano.
It's so blue, isn't it?
To be honest, it's just weird that there's a massive volcanic crater just right next to a road. Not really seen anything like that before. There's a road just over there.
On the way to our next stop, we fed some farmers' horses, which was a nice added surprise.
So we're at the Gullfoss, which is the waterfall, and it translates as Golden Waterfall. And it is massive. Take a look at this. They're gonna have it at that, aren't they? There is a lot of spray here. Probably can't hear this, but when you're standing so close to the waterfall, you really get a sense of how powerful it is. 2 waterfalls, a 10-meter drop and a 20-meter drop, and this is only the 10. But one thing you must remember is the spray that comes off it. You have to bring a waterproof to the Gullfoss, especially for like electrical stuff and all that kind of thing. But yeah, just a brilliant waterfall though. The stairs are a killer if you're not used to hiking. But yeah, awesome.
The people were like, probably not. Volcanic eruptions are basically a weekly thing at this point, so most likely not in the Norse Scots. But since this was happening around that time, this place got given the name the Kristen Take Lava Field.
So we're trying to catch a glimpse of the Glacier, or Geyser. I still don't know the difference between the two, even though the tour guide explained it to us. But it's due to erupt any minute now, and we're standing right in front of it. There's no people around, so we're trying to catch a glimpse of it.
Now, most of you have probably heard of the Great Geyser. Now, this is not the same as a geyser. So the Great Geyser is the original one, so that's why it hasn't got the same name as the other geysers, and that is it. The Great Geyser can shoot hot water and jets of steam up to 70 metres high, but it's mostly dormant now due to the underground geothermic activity. Today we're seeing a geyser called Stroker, which is smaller but erupts every 5 to 10 minutes, so we saw plenty of this. And sometimes it can even catch you off guard.
Oh, it probably shut me up.
Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it's probably the weirdest song, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm actually not going to tell you anything about it inside of the bus. I'm actually going to tell you guys about it outside of the bus, because I want to walk with you guys through this entire area.
Our final stop was Thingvellir Park, which sits on the boundary between the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates, and these drift apart about 2 centimeters every year. Our eccentric guide did a really great job of telling the stories about the world's oldest continuously running parliament and how the geology of the area is constantly changing.
Falling apart slowly but surely, a filler plate forms in the middle of it. But now, since we have this is our stage. Lego! Yeah, so the big guys who are in charge were the chieftains, or höfðingjar as we would call them in Icelandic. Those were the main big guys, you know, head of the villages. And what they would do is they would meet up here, and then just gonna talk stuff out. Just like, what, should we do this? Na 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 na. Is this a law? Should we take this as a law? Yada yada yada. And like, should we behead this man or should we drown this woman? You know, they used to talk about all of that stuff over here. Geology, that's a really hard word. Geology students. But this place is roughly around a steady 6.1 millimeter per year. Slowly but surely pulling up. Now, you can see that there's a man-made bridge leading down there. This bridge is actually new. It only came here in the year 2011. Before that, you could actually drive a car down there. Just, you know, all the way down. Why can't we do that anymore? Brilliant question. There was a man. Oh, you're good. No, you stay put. I haven't said, come on! So there was just this guy making his way down this pathway, you know, not in a car, just walking regularly. And then he stumbled upon a hole, the size of a football. He started examining the hole a tiny bit more, and then this man found a hammer and started picking at the hole. Now what happens when men start picking at holes? Nothing good. So, the hole eventually grew larger and larger and larger and larger. There was actually just a rather thin sheet of rock, and then just a drop down. So a whole other canyon had opened up underneath the ground from this constant pulling, which we will see over on the right-hand side of the wall as we walk down over there, because there will be a picture with the man, the hole, and the hammer. Follow me!
Once we arrived back to Reykjavik after a long day, we cooked some food back at our hostel and relaxed for the evening. Tomorrow was going to be a pivotal day for the holiday, and we would find out whether we were able to get the rental car or not. We woke up Friday morning slightly nervous because we knew that the fate of our holiday was no longer in our hands, and it was either going to go one of two ways. We were either going to get the car or we weren't. Just to recap a little bit on the situation here, as soon as we landed in Reykjavik, Soph had the idea of mentioning to me, Ryan, is your licence in date? And I had this sudden sinking feeling because I realised that I passed my test around 10 years ago. So I double checked, and yeah, my licence was out of date. So for the last couple of days we were trying to look at alternative plans. What could we do if we didn't get the car? Which involved booking some tours, you know, rather than the DIY approach, actually driving to them yourselves. You could try and get a tour guide to take you down that road, but we just wanted the car though for the flexibility and the convenience, and we were also going quite far, too far to do in a day. You know, we had about 2 or 3 days packed worth of stuff, so to do that on a tour is just, it was going to have to absolutely change everything. So Wednesday evening I reapplied for my licence, got it signed off in 24 hours, and then I forwarded all of the successful, application documents onto an email address for a Visa Help Centre, and we were just at the mercy of their customer service, just waiting patiently. Then on yesterday's Golden Circle tour, in between going from the Kerry Crater to the Gullfoss, we had some emails come through, and one of them said that we were successful in our application, which felt like a massive slice of luck that just landed in our direction. They seemed a bit cautious at first, but after a little bit of time, thankfully they let us have the car.
Got the keys at last, and I say at last because we've spent half this holiday thinking we're actually not gonna do this. If you don't have a car, then it's just so difficult because there's no like public transport that goes, or very minimal public transport to go and stop off at all like the waterfalls along the way, so it'd just be crap without a car really. But we were looking at tours, but luckily we don't have to do that anymore, do we? No. So yeah, feeling very lucky, and yeah, we can just get going now. Happy days.
The plan for today was to visit 3 of the most well-known waterfalls along Iceland's south coast, starting with Seljalandsfoss. Standing at 60 metres tall, Seljalandsfoss doesn't just feel like a waterfall, it's an experience. Unlike most waterfalls, you can actually walk behind this one for a more immersive view. Just be ready to get absolutely drenched in the process. Seljalandsfoss is actually fed by meltwater from the famous Eyjafjallajökull Glacier. Really trying hard with these pronunciations. Yes, that's the same volcano that caused one of the largest disruptions in air traffic history back in 2010 when it erupted. Around a 500 metre walk from Seljalandsfoss is its hidden neighbour, Glacier. Its name means canyon dweller, and it lives up to the title because it's tucked away behind a narrow, mossy crevice. You need to hop over a few rocks to actually get to the waterfall, but once you're stood underneath the waterfall and you're just looking up, it's just like otherworldly.
We just got out of the waterfall where you walk through 2 rock faces, and then you go inside, and it's just like this vortex of just water everywhere. But I don't know how big that waterfall is, maybe like 30 metres or so, but it just like comes crashing down, and you can't see it from afar. You have to go through the cracks in the rock to get there, and yeah, we got drenched, but it's totally worth it. There was a whole lot of spray there. How was that then?
Amazing. Loved every single minute of it. It's like you go through like this cave, and then there's just this opening with this big massive waterfall, and it's just gorgeous. Especially like we've picked such a good day, like it's just so sunny, and the sun is just beaming down. It's gorgeous. Definitely recommend walking the extra 500 metres, I think it was, to do it. 100% amazing.
After leaving the Seljalandsfoss car park, it took only around a 30-minute drive east to reach Skugafoss. Skugafoss is a powerhouse of nature, plunging 60 metres with a width of 25 metres, and on sunny days its mist often creates vivid rainbows, and legend has it that a treasure chest is hidden behind the falls, placed there by a Viking settler, but we didn't fancy going to see if that was true or not. We got very wet and probably drowned.
So for about 3 months before this, I've been having problems with my medial hamstring ligament just in here, and so at the last waterfall it started playing up and started twinging. So to get to Skogafoss over there, I had to put on my knee strap and get my walking sticks as well. We knew this was going to happen maybe, so it's just part of it, I guess. Happy days. What do you think?
Of what?
The waterfall.
Oh, yeah. Big, like massive. Very tall, powerful. So wide as well. It's like, geez, look at the mist. The mist as well from it. Like, can't even see the bottom. Like, it's like a cloud.
After leaving Skogafoss, we headed towards our next accommodation, which was probably one of the plushest hostels I've ever stayed in.
So this is the entrance to our hostel, and then just over south is a glacier, and then down there over the cabins is Black Sand Beach. You'll have to just excuse mess, but this is mine Soph's hostel room. Look at those views, and then this one's probably my favourite view, looking out onto that bad boy. Genuinely one of the nicest hostels I've ever stayed in. The only issue is security. We don't have any lockers because we're dorm, so bit of an issue there, but we've got a car, so everything's just been chucked in there. We checked in, dumped our bags and headed straight for Black Sand Beach, which was only a 5-minute drive away. Black Sand Beach, also known as Reynisfjara, is no ordinary beach. It's the kind of place that feels more like a movie set than a beach, and we were there on a sunny day where we actually got sunburn in Iceland. The striking black sands are the remnants of ancient volcanic activity, and the basalt columns, something I referred to earlier in the video when describing Hallgrímskirkja in Reykjavik, look like they've been man-made rather than nature's doing.
You see that wave come in?
But for all its beauty, the Atlantic Ocean has claimed many lives here, with strong sneaker waves on this beach, enough to remind any human just how powerful nature can be.
It's so easy to see why people die here, why people get swept away. There's warnings as you come onto the beach, and the size of these waves are huge, like huge, and just sweeping people up. We saw a couple of tourists down there earlier, and they literally got swept off their feet. So I got no sympathy though. There are warnings everywhere. So.
We sat on the beach for around an hour, watching the world go by before heading back to the hostel for dinner and a reflection on today as well.
We've just got back for the day, Friday, and this was just like waterfall day basically, and yeah, we're just talking about the best parts of our day. Mine personally, I think was Skogafoss, just because you were at the bottom of it and you could just see like the power of it, and it was quite wide as well. You couldn't actually see the bottom. It was that powerful. There was that much spray coming off.
I've got a different favourite waterfall than Ryan. Mine would be the one where we walk through like the rocks, and the waterfall just appeared there, especially with the sun shining down on it. It was just gorgeous. It was like a rainforest cave, where it was like it was raining in a cave, but you just got this beautiful view. And yeah, like you see waterfalls all the time, but you don't see one like this. Was like in like a cave. Yeah, that one was my favourite personally.
We've seen 3 different types of waterfalls today actually. We've got Skogafoss, and then there was the waterfall that you can walk behind, Slandsfoss or something like that, and then there was one between the cracks. So 3 really different waterfalls, and then the one that we saw yesterday as well, you add that into the mix and we've got 4 totally different types of waterfalls. So yeah, been super lucky, and the weather is just beautiful, like blue skies. Couldn't ask for much more, because we just fitted in the Black Sand Beach as well. You know, and obviously the seas are still dead rough, but the sky is beautiful. We sat on the beach, Black Sand Beach, for ages. What did you say, like 40 minutes, something like that?
Yeah, I think maybe an hour.
Yeah, 40 minutes, an hour, just watching the waves. It was brilliant. I loved it. To be honest, I think today's my favourite day personally.
we've got everything that we wanted to do, and then probably a little bit more because we went to Black Sand Beach as well. So yeah, class day.
Tomorrow we are going on a glacier hike, but it's only going to be 3 hours, and it'll only be about an hour on the actual glacier, just because Ryan's leg, my knees, bit of backstory on my knees. About 4 or 5 months ago I dislocated both my kneecaps, so I'm still in rehab for both of them, near enough, so I can't really walk that far or do that much, it just gets too tired. So this one's about an hour's walking, which is what we've been basically doing the whole time we've been here. So yeah, so that'll be quite exciting, actually going on a glacier. So yeah. We got up early for our hike on Feltjerkul Glacier, which is about 93 miles away from Vic, so just under 2 hours away. We got geared up with helmets, harnesses, pickaxes and crampons. We jumped on the Glacier Explorer for a 15-minute journey to get to the start of the hike, where we were briefed on how to walk on the glacier.
So now try to keep your feet straight. You can use the ice axe to keep the balance and also to help yourself a bit. And we walk very slowly. Solid steps, straight feet.
This is Europe's largest glacier by volume, and our 2 international guides were full of knowledge and interesting facts.
In front of us we can see also a lot of crevasses. Do you know what crevasse is? Yeah, the deep cracks in the ice. They form when the terrain is steep and the mass of ice is really high, so there is a lot of tension, so that's why the ice cracks. They can be even 30 meters deep when you go like deep in the glacier. Actually, in theory, they can't be deeper than 30 meters because the ice is so dense and so thick and so hard that the tension is so big that it's not possible to break it, but it's just a theory.
So, if we remove this summer crust, underneath we have blue ice and hard ice like in winter. What happened now, why we have this summer crust? It is because the ice it is made by snow. The snow has air trapped inside. At the same time, the ice has air bubbles trapped inside too. So the sun now in summer and spring hit more time. So make the air bubbles on surface explode and turn this hard ice into this weak ice we call summer crust. In spring and summer the sun hit more time per day the ice, and these rocks become warm and melt the ice faster. So then the water running down from the surface is gonna meet a weakness like this small hole and start to erode small holes with water. As you can see here, this starts with a small rock melting the ice, then water come here and make the hole bigger. Okay?
Are you enjoying it so far?
I am.
After having around an hour and a half on the glacier, we made our way down. We had a quick stop for lunch, and then it was time to swap the largest glacier for the largest lagoon. And I'm not even going to attempt to say the name of it.
So the plan was to go to the big lagoon, and And on the way we saw this one, the smaller one, so we're like, oh, we'll stop by, have a little look. And we saw that they did boat tours, and we didn't think they did them here. We thought they only did them at the bigger lagoon. And so we asked, and they were like, oh yeah, we've got one leaving in 2 minutes. And it was like, oh, great! Wasn't it? And it's the last 2 places as well, so it's a full boat now. So yeah, very spontaneous. And now we can actually see what we're about to go on. Have a look.
We were weaving between the icebergs and sometimes we got a little bit too close.
No worries, it's only ice, okay? Are you scared a little bit? No way! The lagoon, the average deep is 70 meters, okay? But the deepest point is close to the wall in front of us, okay? It's 130 meters.
It was very peaceful, slowly floating around the lagoon and giving us time to take it all in and admire the view.
They create like these small mountains, okay, over there. The name of this one is moraines, okay? So you have here, here, so you need to imagine how it's big. Only this lagoon, 5 kilometers, okay? So maybe this blue pot, for example, was under the water. So maybe submarine can reach. And it make a big sound like. So you can hear that maybe sometimes, but it's too late, of course, it's already full. So you need to be super careful. Don't check only in one place because sometimes you check only here and it's happening there. Be careful with that. And that's why you cannot go super close of the glacier. Small quiz. Why is blue?
Have air in it?
Okay, yes, that's it. Good job. Yeah, there is no air on it. Yeah, there is oxygen, okay? And it's super compact, super dense, so you need to imagine that there is no oxygen, okay? And the sunlight cannot go here, okay? And it was maybe a few days ago, a few hours ago, under the water. So the sunlight cannot go in the water, so that's why it's protected like this. 500 years, okay? You can taste it if you want, take a piece and eat. It tastes like 500 years. No, I'm joking, of course. You can take a piece, yes. You can take one big piece if you want, make a photo, video, as you want, okay? But you can see in the water, if we put it only in the water, it's gonna be only 10% of the iceberg just up. That's why I was like, oh, it's...
Seeing the glacier up close was so surreal, it was mesmerising.
The glacier was super small, really tiny, okay? It started growing up after the 14th centuries, and this period is the Little Ice Age, okay? Like 600 years, the glacier started growing up super fast to the shore, okay? It was the limit of the glacier. So you need to imagine that now is 130 meters of ice under the water and around 40 meters maximum up to the water. So it's a lot, really a lot. This is the second non-active bigger glacier in Europe. Okay, the first one is in Switzerland. Okay.
As we headed back to dry land, we were taking in the view before it's gone.
We've just got off the Zodiac tour for the, what's it called? Vatnajökull Glacier. So there's a smaller, I might butcher that pronunciation, but there's a smaller lagoon and a bigger one, and we were going to go for the bigger one, but we went for this one, and it was awesome. Like, we got right up close to the actual glacier, all the way over there, you know, going in and out of the icebergs. We got an iceberg on board with us. We actually got to taste it as well, which is pretty cool. And yeah, it was such a relaxing experience, actually. You know, it was nice and calm on the water, obviously no waves because it's a lagoon, calm day, sun wasn't blinding us, but yeah, just great experience, and one that I thought was gone, to be honest. I thought we'd left it too late, but again, like as So said earlier, it's, you know, something that's just come good for us on this holiday, so couldn't have asked for much more really.
After the lagoon, our plan was to head back to Vic for a quiet evening, but because we opted to do the 3-hour hike rather than the 5-hour hike, and to go for the smaller lagoon rather than the bigger one, it meant that we had time to catch the 7 o'clock lava show.
The first lava formation I'm going to show you is this one. These are called Pelles hairs. Very thin strings of lava. These are usually formed in nature if lava is falling over edges or if lava gets pulled and stretched by strong winds. But they are also very difficult to find because they are very fragile. These strings are made of volcanic glass, so they tend to break apart very quickly. In Icelandic, we call these formations Nornahaur, which translates to witches' hairs. And as soon as the lava comes into the room, it immediately starts to release the heat very quickly. And you can see how the lava is cooling down, the more heat it releases. And you can see the lava is also bubbling a little bit over here. And this is actually the steam from the ice that is pushing into the lava, causing it to inflate a little bit. This also happens a lot in nature with gases like sulfur dioxide or carbon dioxide. These gases can also inflate lava and create lava caves inside the lava field. But also we see the lava is changing its appearance very quickly. As soon as it touches the ice, it turns into this beautiful black, shiny volcanic glass, instantly solidifying. So now this is completely solid.
That was genuinely one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. I saw actual lava flowing through this like steel tube or whatever, and then the guy was just whisking it around. I've got some really cool videos of it, but I'm absolutely just astounded by what I've just seen. You just can't get that anywhere else. I'll never see that again probably. Amazing, amazing.
When you said, "Oh, I don't think we've got time for the lava show," I was like, oh, like a little bit gutted. And then so obviously today, when we were driving, we realised there was one at 7 o'clock, which was much better because we've tried to cram as much as we can in. And then the fact that we've actually gone and done it, and it was amazing. Like, if you come to Iceland, you have to do that. That is my one must. Like, I've never seen molten lava. I don't know anyone who has seen it. It was so cool, and I'm so glad we got to do it. And I just think today has been my favourite day. We've gone on a glacier, we've gone on a boat up to a glacier to go and see everything, and then I've also seen lava today. Like all in one day, Insane.
Today's our last full day in Iceland, and we've just checked out the accommodation in Vic, and we've just come to Vic this morning just to explore around, you know, see what it's got to offer. On top of a big hill is this church. It's quite famous, and it's also the meeting point for if the big volcano erupts and there's a flash flood. Everyone in the town, all 300 or 400 odd people, have to come to this meeting point. And it's surrounded, I'll get some b-roll of it, but it's surrounded by these flowers, these purple flowers, which are called Nootka lupine. I think I nailed that. But yeah, it just makes the town look beautiful, just this purple array, and you don't often see a lot of colour in Iceland. It is just a lot of black, the odd bit of green, maybe some white on icebergs, and then you get this beautiful purple as well. So yeah, it's really nice so far.
After a slow start to the morning, we left Vic around lunchtime to head back to the capital. We decided spontaneously on the way to visit our second thermal bath of the holiday, this one being the Secret Lagoon. This was Iceland's first public swimming pool and has a more natural and rustic feel in comparison with the Blue Lagoon or Sky Lagoon. There's a small path around the lagoon where you get to see bubbling geothermal pools and a mini geyser as well that erupts every few minutes. It's interesting because you actually get to see the water that heats the pool up that you were bathing in. Get the geyser, get the geyser, get the geyser, yeah, boy.
It's a proper like squirter now.
I was recording. Say it again.
Proper squirter. We should have an ice cream. We're not going to have a better time.
That's true.
No.
This is a good ice cream, isn't it?
When we made it back to Reykjavik after the Secret Lagoon, we turned the camera on for a bit of a reflection on the holiday before heading to sleep.
It's expensive to be here, so while we're here, we're making the most of it. So we're tired, very tired,
Yeah.
but you know, we've got to do it. And then once we're home, then we can sleep. Whereas other places, it's a little bit, it's not as horrendous, so you don't mind, you know, being like, do you know what, we'll just have a chill afternoon. Well, we just couldn't have that because it's
expensive.
Yeah.
But overall, Iceland was everything that we wanted it to be and so much more as well. There was so much that we were so looking forward to and it didn't disappoint, and then there were some really unexpected, spontaneous moments as well. There were a couple of lows too, and maybe we were thinking things wouldn't pan out how we wanted it to, but in the end, couldn't have asked for any better.
I'm going to go to sleep now. We're tired and we've only got 5 hours? 5
Less
hours?
than that.
Is it less?
4 hours.
You're joking, Paul. No, I'm not joking. It's even worth going to sleep. Jeez.
Iceland is right up there as one of my favourite countries I've ever visited. It's just a completely unique experience. The second half of that holiday could have been completely different had we not got the rental car. But at the end of the day, we just made the most of the opportunities that were put in front of us, and luckily we saw some incredible scenery and the activities that we did were just fantastic as well. My next trip with Soph will be in November when we head to Brazil, and that is my ultimate bucket list destination. Before that though, I'll be switching up the cast a little bit and heading to Copenhagen with the lads, which is a place that none of us have ever been to. I'll also be releasing an Iceland budget video, so keep your eyes out for that if you're interested. But until then, thanks for watching, see you next time.